Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we'll talk about the digital warehouse. It is safe to say that we humans have become increasingly dependent on digital products and services. Wow, what an understatement. It doesn't matter if you're a carpenter, a tech startup, or indeed a band. Your business will rely heavily on managing digital assets. These days, most businesses have a digitally operated storefront, such as a website, but increasingly also through services like Instagram, Facebook, and Etsy. As a band, your main entry is likely services like Instagram or Spotify, maybe even TikTok or Facebook. And this is where you engage with your audience and redirect them to your actual sales channels, which could be your website. This should maybe make it clear that being a band in the digital age relies heavily on digital assets as well. Everything from your concert photos to your album recordings and even your merchandise designs and tour posters are stored digitally. And without a proper system to manage and store them safely, you might be at risk of losing valuable files that you can use way after you've actually created them or used them at first. And very importantly, using cloud-based services such as Dropbox, Google Drive, or Box makes it much safer because you're not reliant on a hard disk or computer that might fail you in the future. But just saving your files on a cloud is not enough. You also need to be able to locate them later without any hassle. This obviously becomes increasingly important with increasing amounts of data and files. And it's even more important when you're storing delicate files such as your album recordings, your artwork, maybe your tax papers or receipts. But it doesn't have to be complicated to organize your digital files if you follow a set of good practices. And that's what we're going to explain in this series of videos. I guess everyone is familiar with the typical warehouse storing physical goods. There's shelving and racks, which are labeled, classified, or indexed according to some internal standard. The logic of this kind of organization is for warehousing staff to be able to easily locate a certain product or a certain rack. This in turn means higher turnover of products, which means increased sales and more revenue. I know this is a funny metaphor, but try and consider your digital files in the same manner. Think of organizing your digital files the same way as you would organize warehouse shelving. You can index and label your digital files in a similar manner by use of folder hierarchies and naming conventions that makes it easy for you to find what you're looking for. Let's start by considering some terminology. For the purpose of explaining how to create a coherent folder structure, we can think of folders as a hierarchical assortment, sort of like the branching of a tree. First, create a set of primary folders. They hold all of your digital files of a specific function. For a band, primary folders could look something like this: music, media, press, business, ads and promo, shows and tours. In each of your primary folders, you can put subfolders or secondary folders that further index your digital assets. In this case, it's the primary folder music. Inside your secondary folders, it makes sense to think about how you can separate files from each other. This could, for instance, be that you keep your master recordings separate from your demos. How you organize your folders is really up to you and how your team works best. These are just examples of how we have done it. Diving further down, you'll start to notice how the branching becomes more and more important when you're looking for a specific file. Let's assume you're looking for the red dot, corresponding to a file you're trying to locate. Everything is neatly indexed, like warehouse shelving, so that at any time you receive a new piece of digital content, you know where to put it, and anytime you need to retrieve it, you know exactly where to find it. Let's compare this to a more chaotic folder structure, and it's more common than you think. The problem with this sort of organization is the lack of subfolder structure. In the previous example, we had a separation of items based on, for instance, format, such as MP3, WAV, and so on. In this example, those files are mixed inside a single subfolder called Album 2. The files become more scattered and not organized according to a very strict standard. While it could look like the content has been organized, finding anything in such a system is a hassle. You could search for a given item, but this requires you to know the name of the item. And this brings us to a second layer of organization, which is naming conventions, making it possible for you to search on a given file or folder and find it instantly. We'll talk more about naming conventions in the next video of this series. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you know instantly when the next video is up. And don't forget to like the video if you find it useful. The video is also available as a written article, and there's a link to our website in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.